Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcome to the Friday Night Chop Session with Stormybman for this Friday, September 25th, 2020. Man, you feel that beat? That beat is something else, ain't it? And we got Muhammad Ali shadow boxing to it, man. That's some good stuff right there. I want to welcome everybody that's out there listening. This is episode number 79. Stormy is putting them together well over a year into this as we bring you a Friday night chop session called It's a Lions Show. That's right. We're calling it It's a Lions Show because the Charlo brothers, the twins, are fighting this weekend, tomorrow night, in their first pay-per-view featuring them as the show. They always put on a show, but this is their feature for the first time. And I think that's a great thing, man. It's a great thing to see these brothers come out there and put it together because they're going to entertain. I guarantee you. I guarantee you that these brothers are going to entertain. And as they say, lions only, as only lions can. So that's what this evening's show is going to be about, pretty much. This is the first time I'll do a chop session where the entire show will be featuring one subject, and that is where we get a chance to focus on tomorrow night's event with the Charlo brothers. Cut their teeth in the sport, and it's only fitting that, you know, gentlemen such as themselves get that chance to have that opportunity to be showcased. And we only hope that they can deliver as only they can. Some exciting boxing, some fighting, because these two brothers, in their own way, they're their own person and own personality, but they, you know, they deliver in different manners. But in both ways, for both gentlemen, it's exciting. So, you know, we're going to talk about it a little bit this evening. Hopefully we can even engage some people in the chat to put in your thoughts. Now, Stormy ain't going to criticize you or anything. If you go against the grain and you think something's going to go a different way than what the majority or the popular thought is, I'm not going to do that to you here, because you deserve to have your own mind and make up things in your own time. So, hey, but we can get to it and talk about it all, man. I'm excited. I am very excited. And we can start it off this evening, kicking things off by saluting everybody that's out there in the chat. We got Mike202. He says, salute Stormy B-Man and the whole LDBC with the love and the fist. Yes, sir. Eric R is out there. He says, salute family. Salute to you. Corner Girl 66 has joined us once again. She says, salute Stormy B-Man in the chat. Salute to you, sister. How you doing? My co-host here, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, is out there. He says his usual salute, my peoples. And if you get a chance, make sure you go to Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens tomorrow evening, because he will be calling the fights, I believe. And we get a chance to hear one of the brothers from the community give their take on the action, blow by blow. We don't have to listen to those biased commentators on the network that are hired men to make sure that a certain narrative plays out. We'll get to hear one of our own talk about it. And we got Iceberg Nerd out there. He says salutations and greetings to you, Iceberg Nerd. Deacon 305 is out. He says, salute Stormy B-Man. Salute General. There's one general. We got 78. He's the general. But I am Stormy B-Man. And you can call me the coach. You can call me the Sensei. That's my preferred nickname, the Sensei, because I break it down like that teacher in the temple when you come for the 36th chamber. You understand? Salute to your brother. Eric R says, let's cook. And IGM Tim says, salute Stormy and chat, ready to talk some boxing. I'm sure you are, IGM Tim, because you've been out there rocking with Stormy all week. I've seen you in all of my streams this week, man. And it's good to see someone supporting all of the shows such as yourself. And I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you very much. The Boxing Archives is out there. Said, I don't know what's going to happen, Stormy, but out of those 4 guys, someone is going to sleep. Yeah, there should be some pillows nearby for somebody to be tucked in because they're going to have an early night. I can't tell you who it's going to be. You can't tell me who it's going to be, but we will open our peepers so we can see. You know what I'm saying? That's right. And Deacon is saluting everybody in the chat. Corner Girl 66 is saluting Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. And Eric R says, yes, Sensei. And Deacon says, yes, sir, Sensei. So, yeah, so with no further ado, I will be joined shortly by my brother Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. He's got to get to the studio. He's en route, I'm sure. But we are here and we are ready to, put that fire under the skillet, So, man, let me tell you, man. For those of anybody out there this evening that's been sleeping under a rock, what we're talking about this evening, we are talking about tomorrow night on Showtime pay-per-view. We've got in a double feature, an intermission separating the shows. We have Jamal Charlo, taking on Sergey Deverenchenko, and in a main event for that first part of the doubleheader, and on the undercard of that, you've got Figueroa versus Vasquez, and also John Riel Casimiro, and that's the earlier broadcast, and again, for the rest of you that been sleeping under a rock somewhere, the main event of the pay-per-view show for tomorrow night will have twin brother Jermell Charlo taking on Jason Rosario Banana in a unification match for the 154-pound division, man. This is what we're talking about here, where we've got 3 belts on the line. Mr. Rosario hot off of the presses of his victory over Julian J. Rock Williams, And Mel is coming back after getting his get back against Tony Harrison, where he regained his WBC junior middleweight title, super welterweight title. So the brothers are back to get in there and unify. Isn't that something? We get a chance to see quality fights on this wonderful night of pay-per-view where championships are on the line. We're going to see a unification here. We're going to see a sorting of who's the best, isn't this what we've been clamoring for? Isn't this what we've been talking about? Listen, man, you can't complain now. They're giving you what you want. I hear people out there talking about it's too much money and all of this. Oh, no. You know what? If you want to see the gameplay, you got to pay. That's it. Don't be trying to stream it and trying to, figure out how you can get it on the down low and all of that. Support these brothers, man, because they deserve it. They've earned this. Okay? But not only that, you're getting 2 great shows, 2 great cards on one night. 5 championship fights here. So don't complain. Okay? Don't complain. Oh, you got to go into them pockets, man. You got to go into them pockets. Huh? Anything worth having is worth working for. It's only you fat cats and, over excessed folk that don't think you should pay for stuff. Huh? That's it, man. Support them. We got some more people who are falling into the building, and I am going to acknowledge you. Corner Girl 66 says, someone get a mattress. Yeah, we're going to need some mattresses ringside, because I think some folks are going to lay down tomorrow night. Kenneth Johnson has joined us. He says, salute. Got you there. Lala D, the sister is out there. She says, Stormy. And I say, Lala D, what's up? And she's saying, Reggie. Focus Ball is out there. He says, salute, Stormy. Salute to you, Focus Ball. Hope you're doing well, brother. Good to see you once again out here in the chat for the Friday night chop session. We've got Michael Johnson, Boxing Talk, talking more. He said, what it do? What's going on, Michael? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. D-Style has joined us. He's saying, Stormy. And Corner Girl is offering up, I'm definitely paying for this. Yes, set the example, Corner Girl. I was a few minutes delayed because I had just about 30 minutes ago were ordering the show myself. So I was getting my studio stuff prepped, but that's what made me a few minutes late after 8 this evening, because if I hadn't been trying to order the show, I would have been on time. But I did my part, so you do your part. And Kano Local Sports is out there. It says, salute Stormy in chat. Welcome, Kano. Good to see you, bro. And I hope that you are all ready for the fights tomorrow. I know you are, but I'm just putting it out there to be ready and be ready to talk about it. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out Kano Local Sports, please do. The brother's got some stuff going on over there where he's talking boxing. He got interviews going. He did a wonderful interview last weekend, I believe it was, with Tim Witherspoon. I got a chance to tune in for that. Salute to you, Kano Local Sports, for that interview. That was a wonderful interview that you got from, I'm sorry, I said Tim Witherspoon. I actually meant to say Pinklin Thomas. Forgive me for that. That was my bad. Pinklin Thomas was the interview that he did, and it was great. You guys seem to have a real rapport and had a great conversation, man. I love to see that. And Pinklin Thomas was a very underrated heavyweight during the era that his paths were, his career path was overlapping with Larry Holmes, and they never got a chance to fight. I kind of understand that someone didn't want that fight more than the other, but I'll leave that up to the audience for speculation who it could have been. But it would have been a great fight if those two men decided to get in the ring. The battle of the jabs. Pinklin had a punishing, heavy, ham-fisted jab, and Larry had an educated, sharp shooting jab. It would have been interesting to see those two men fight. And Pinklin was a tough man, and he's doing great community service with the work that he's doing with people. So shout out to Kano Local Sports for that, man. That was some good stuff. Appreciate you, bro. Curtis Anderson, my brother from the Three Wise Men of Boxing, out there, 1/3 of the party. He's out there. He says that Stormybman in chat, salute family. Salute to you, Kurt. And everybody else is saluting each other. We got Renee Box Young out there. He says, Mr. Stormy. What's going on there, Renee? Good to see you, bro. And what else we got? Now the chat is moving right along. So Yeah, everybody else is saluting one another. It's good to see the community coming together like this, and to just be ready to talk boxing on a Friday night before a big event, man. That's what's really going down. Okay, Chicano Prophet is in the house. He says, "What's up, Stormy in chat? What's good with you?" Lawrence Williams, the resident stat man, is out there. What's going on with you, Lawrence? Got a chance to listen to you a little earlier this afternoon, man. You were talking some good stuff out there, man. I try to tune in and show support for all the brothers out here. Yeah, and Kano is correcting me there. It was Pinklin Thomas. Yes, sir. I got that. And Eric R. is saluting. And, wow, it's jumping on me again. That means that people are talking out here. And Lala D is laughing. Tone Brown is out there. And he's saluting. And Big Dose. He says, "Man, that set looks live." Stormy B-Man, salute, bro. Thank you, Big Dose. And listen, man, I'm always doing stuff. And Stormy is always trying to get it, But I always save this, and you can consider this a staple of the Stormy B-Man show. You can always tune in, and just behind me on the screen here, I'll put some action back there for you. And I won't tell you what that clip is, but I'm sure plenty of you already know. And if you've been missing it, I brought it back just again this week like I did last week. You can't get too much of that. You can't get too much of that. This right here is something that goes with boxing, just like your fist and the glove. You understand? And by the way, for you all out there, my brother Big Dose 513, he's out there doing his thing, but Big Dose also contributes to Stormy B-Man's productions because he provides some of the music on my videos and especially on my intros, so Big Dose, big shout out to the brother coming up with them fascinating beats, man. He's really down with that. He's got it going on, man. So I'm gonna tell you, Big Dose, you gotta find a beat to go to this clip right here that I got playing behind me, because when you get to see a knockout like this with a person that you love to see be knocked out, you got to have a special rhythm and tune to go with that. So this right here, please come up with a beat for it, and I'll make sure I'll play the beat and I'll play the clip to your heart's content, man. When you tune in to the Friday night chop session, this may be one of the staples, just like you see the pictures of the three Wiseman favorite fighters up here. You got Henry Armstrong, who's Scrapbook Boxing's favorite fighter. You got Evander Holyfield, the real deal, my favorite fighter, and Sugar Ray Robinson, Kurt Sugar's favorite fighter, on the panel behind us. So just like we have those, vintage and legendary fighters, likenesses up there on the wall for the Friday night chop session, we'll have this clip right here for Dillian White and Mr., Alexander Povetkin, putting him on his rear end. That's some good stuff right there. That's some good stuff. And I want to welcome, we got Curtis Anderson has joined us here in the studio. Kurt Sugar. What's going on, Kurt, man? Good to see you out here this evening on a Friday night, bro. I know your time is precious, so thank you for joining us and sharing your time with us a little bit, bro. You there, Kurt? If you're there, you're on mute, bro. So, yeah, you guys, if you get a chance, pop in and you want to see something really funny and hilarious, we got this right here, this clip right here for you. So just know that that's for you. I put that up there, man. I can actually slow it down so it go really, really slow. And I think I will play with that in the future. But tonight, regular speed is pretty good because you get to see the stiffness in his legs when he just, rigor mortis set in before he even hit the canvas. That was good stuff. Okay, Kurt, you back now? Yep. Let's see. Let me check this audio for Kurt real quick. Let's see. Yeah, that Dillian White knockout, man, that's a classic. We can't never let that go, bro. We can't never let that go. Let's see here. Something's going on where we can't hear Kurt on the audio. Let's see here. I see Reggie out there. You there, Reggie?
Yes, sir. In the building. What's happening?
It's all good, man. Kurt is having a little audio trouble for whatever reason, but I hear you just fine. So it's not on my end. It's got to be on Kurt's end. Welcome to the show, bro. How you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Can't wait for damn Saturday to get here. Wish I can warp the speed of this damn planet or to speed up this time.
Yeah, man. It's exciting that we got a fight like this for tomorrow night. A fight card, because those matches, man. We're talking about 5 championship fights, actually. That hasn't really been done since Don King, man. So it's an exciting thing. Kurt, are you good now, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now, bro. I hear you now. I hear you just fine, Kurt.
I'm on my tablet. Something ain't right still. I can hear you, but it's supposed to come through my headphones, and it's not coming through my headphones. I got my headphones on. I'm on my new tablet, so I'm still getting acclimated to my new tablet, but I'm going to grab my phone. Give me a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Until I do that.
Okay. So, Reggie, listen, man. I told the listening audience, and I know you were out there listening too, that I'll make sure that I save this clip of Dillian White getting knocked on his can and getting knocked from his senses for a regular thing that we could bring into the show. Even if things are a little down or the energy is low, we could always pop Dillian out here, just like Alexander popped him in his mouth, and give everybody a thrill. I saw some smileys and laughters in the chat when they saw that immediately, so that's good stuff, man. Stormy aims to please and to entertain at the same time.
Absolutely, yes.
So, let's see. We got some more people made in comments after everybody was laughing. Big Doe says, man, that set looks live. Okay, I read that. And Corner Girl was cracking up. Kenneth Johnson was cracking up. Connor Loco is cracking up. And Big Doe says, man, it's an honor, bro. Yeah, man, you do great work with your music, man. Deacon 305 says, that is Dillian White getting knocked out. Yeah. Renee Box Young says, I love one of the beats that Stormy has in one of his shows. Yeah, man. I try to, keep that aspect of things entertaining. I got to have something to engage you guys. You just don't want to see my mug all the time. You got to have some other stuff to look at. And Chicano Prophet says, I love seeing White getting knocked out. So satisfying. Yes, it is. And Renee Box Young says, beautiful uppercut from Povetkin. Dillian White said, Eric R says, Dillian White's trust fall game is tight. And Big Doe says, I'm going to work on that beat, Stormy B, man. And Jeff, the producer, is out there, says, Stormy. And let's see what else we got. Renee Box Young says, Stormy, you cold. You said the clip is funny and hilarious. Laugh out loud. It is, man. It's very entertaining. That's what we pay to see boxing. Somebody going to go out like that tomorrow night. IGM Tim says, hey fam, his head knocked the advertisement out of the ring. Hey, Povetkin knocked his head out of the ring. And Big Doe says that knockout is pretty as hell. Have you ever seen one so beautiful, man? Couldn't have happened to a worse dude. I've been saying that. Eric R says that Stormybman. It jumped on me again. He said you should zoom in and Photoshop your name on the bottom of Dillian's shoes. Kano says that Stormy, I ain't forgot about you. I will email you eventually. Hey man, I know you working just like I am. You got that grind going, bro. So we will be in contact, and I'll look to speak with you soon. Appreciate that. IGM Tim says, hey, I'm wrenched up. Thanks, Uncle Stormy. Yes, you are, man. You've been around with me for a minute, hanging in there tight with me, man. So I rinsed you up on the Three Wise Men show last night. It just didn't show up right away for whatever reason. I was thinking there was something wrong on my end. And Supreme Beast Boxing Talk is out there. It says, salute Stormy B-Man, Reggie and Kurt. What's shaking, fellas? What's good with you, Supreme Beast? Great show earlier this week, man, when I caught you guys. And I wrote that in your chat about that. Who's looking here when he should be looking over there? Man.
Stormy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine, Kurt. I'm
sorry to interrupt the show, but I had to fix it. I didn't get my phone. I'm on my tablet. I don't know what happened, but we're on, and I'm looking forward to the fights tomorrow, man. And there was another great fight that was made that's going to be on ESPN. It's Burchelt versus Valdez on ESPN December 12th. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I'm going to go right back to the chat because I was trying to catch up. D-Style Boxing says, that look like me when I chop trees. Got to get back to that. One of my favorite things. Okay, D-Style. Big Doe says, I need to talk to you, Stormy B-Man. I'm trying to figure some things out for my show, but I could use some help. Yeah, Big Dose, leave me an email in the email that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. And we can communicate and maybe exchange phone numbers or something like that. And I can help you out with what you might need or try to give you assistance or something. The chat is really moving. Forgive me, guys. Counter Loco is saying smash the like button, folks. And Renee Boxion says, man, jab, step to the left, and uppercut. Wow. Yeah, nobody did that better than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was excellent at that. And that's where these guys picked that up from because Mike was so awesome when he was a young fighter. Counter Loco says that Big Dose, I will help you out as well if you want, bro. Okay, see, Big Dose, you got Counter Loco Sports out here also offering some assistance, which is great. The family and community working together, that's great stuff, man, because everybody should try to help each other out. We are doing some great things out here on this platform, and we all want to, stay on point with it, with what we're doing quality-wise. So let's now get on into the show, man. We had a chance to greet everybody out there, and I just wanted to say, Reggie, welcome in this evening, and this show in its entirety is dedicated to the Lions, man. So I wanted to ask you, regarding the first part of the card, what are your thoughts? And we're getting 5 championship fights that night, So what are your thoughts on it, and how do you feel about the Charlos hosting their first pay-per-view, man?
Hey, I think this is a well-due moment for both of the brothers, man. These are brothers, and these are the brothers who've been trying to go out there. They've been acting like fighters, trying to get fights. It's just unfortunate to me. People in the game don't act like fighters, and many people have been running away from them. And it was also with the comments of that clown sports writer, Chris Maddox, acting as if they don't have a resume and their legacy their legacy hasn't been written. But the thing left out with that is every time they're looking for someone, the top names that are out there who people want to crown and write as being some reign supreme over the division. When these cats come up into mention, people go blind and go deaf on the Charlo's existence within these divisions. But these guys live the life of a fighter. Seeing their conditioning, how in shape they are, the only aspect is coming off the mental side of things. But their hunger and passion for boxing is what you expect out of a fighter. And I think these guys are right here on their way, and they deserve it. And they deserve it regardless of what people say is on their record and what's not on their record. But you have to also keep in mind the fact that they've created a ton of fear amongst those names that try to compete through this game very comfortably. Everybody has seemed to avoid these Charlo brothers, and the ones who have stepped up and wanted to fight them have made some grave mistakes coming in that ring way too early against these Charlo brothers. But now here they go, defending their titles in very tough matchups. And these matchups, these are perfect matchups to where many people, when they do their assessments and predictions, they view these fights as 50-50 fights. And that's what you want to see out of a champion. You want to see them in tough fights, and also one of them being a unification bout for the Jamel. And also this Jamal fight should be a unification bout as well, because Derevyanchenko should be holding whatever title Triple G held on to. But can't wait for this shit tomorrow, man. But this is epic. I hope this is a major success for the brothers, and we're going to see the way it shake out.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting thing, I think, and we should celebrate these brothers getting their chance at pay-per-view. We've seen less, right, on pay-per-view. We really have. So I'm going to throw it right at you, Kurt, too. Your sentiments on the fact that these brothers are finally getting a chance to shine on pay-per-view, no less, in a double bill featuring the twins. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm happy for the Charlos. They put in the work. They're good fighters. They're fighting two quality opponents. Yeah, I don't know what the pay-per-view number is going to be. I don't really get wrapped up into that because I understand the boxing crowd and the sport. You know, if they can do, 150, I think that's great. You know, boxing right now is really back. A pay-per-view is for, the good numbers are 300 to 400,000. Spence does it, against Porter and Garcia. It might be more than that. I'm rooting for them. And we got quality fights. We got 5 championship fights. And the old days, you had a card during the daytime and a card at night. So this kind of put me in a mindset of that. I'm happy. We got a lot of big fights. I'm in a good mood, and I'm gonna enjoy the card tomorrow. I'm gonna purchase it in the morning, and it should be 2 good fights. You never know what's going to happen. I expect the Charlos to win. I expect Jamel to knock out Rosario, and I expect Jamal to decision or stop Derevyanchenko late. But you never know. It's always a moment of uncertainty in boxing. Somebody can be off their game and, they lose, or upset or what have you. But I just got a feeling about Charles. I think they're going to look good tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm excited about being able to see these guys. For some reason, I guess it might even be the climate of everything we're dealing with as a society and everything. I just want to get behind my brothers and support them a lot. These are 2 guys. Let's just say it, man. It's like, people want to talk about their attitudes and stuff like this, but Marvin Hagler was a mean and surly dude. Matter of fact, he was one of the few men outside of Lou Gossett, maybe, with a bald head back then that kind of like that meant menacing, And these guys are menacing for their day, but they're fighters who are menacing. They're not outside the sport committing crimes and on police blotters or anything like that. They're out there talking stuff because they feel that they are the best at what they do in the sport where they participate. And I like that. It's like they're not out here, they just want to fight. And like Hagler used to say, destruction and destroying, you know, that's these guys in modern times. So I have to kind of give it to them for being fighters and wanted to exemplify a fighting fiery spirit. You know, we've seen guys out here wearing skinny jeans and stuff, and you know, not being the toughest, you know, brushing their hair and all of that stuff. But these guys, they ready to go, man. You know, they ready to mix it up, and you have to like that, you know. But also, for the fact that they're taking on good opponents, you know, at a time when they should be fighting them. I mean, they could have tried to, like, you know, tiptoe around these guys. Like a year ago when I think it was Triple G and Jamal, they were trying to enlist the services of Brandon Adams, you know. And I was arguing back then, I was like, they should be trying to fight each other. Why are they trying to fight the lower status of Brandon Adams, who's not really on their level? At least he wasn't thought to be on their level. And, you know, they were looking to offer him something instead of offering one another. And so here we are a year later, and Derevyanchenko, after a good outing against Triple G himself, where many people felt he beat Triple G, is now getting that chance to face Jamal. So, you know, hopefully Jamal has dialed in and focused on that and go out there and take care of the business at hand. I know he's wanted other names and not necessarily this guy, but you have to deal with what's in front of you. And right now is Sergey Derevyanchenko, and you take care of that business, and they can't tell you anything. They can't say anything because everybody's talking about it, including a few of the pros. And when I say pros, that don't mean that they're professional. Just means that they are prone to say the things that they say. They're expecting him to be upset by Derevyanchenko. So hopefully he's reading the press clippings and he can get out there and focus. Reggie, what's your thoughts on the fact that you got people out there that's almost like they're wishing for his downfall against Derevyanchenko, sort of like, you know, when people were looking and waiting and wishing for Deontay Wilder to lose?
It goes back to the arrogance and confidence of a black guy. And I think that's what bothers a lot of people. Those are some of the issues that we deal with a lot of people in society, mainly coming from all walks of life, not even just from writers, from a lot of the fans that look like them have issue with that. They think they should be in their place, a little bit quiet. I think that's really where it stems from, is from the fact that they do things their way. They walk at the beat of their own drum. And a lot of people ain't comfortable enough to do that. These cats can't knock them. You may want them to change up shit. I be wanting them to you know, change up on the tone sometimes, but they move how they want to move. And you can't do nothing but respect that. They talk big shit and they back it up, but really they don't. When you look at it, really they don't. I think a lot of times they address the disrespect that is out there. So I have to look at it from that aspect as well. They ain't big shit talkers. They just want to fight. And that's really what it comes down to. And a lot of times they express that anger by the fact that they can't get the guys who they want to get in there, because their thing is to, if they claim you the best, they claim you in the number one spot, these cats want to fight you. And with the politics and bullshit that protects a lot of these folks, they can't get it, and they express it in the way they express it. But I think it's time for them to kind of mash past those type of dudes who avoid them, create their own lane, and then you make the situation where these people chase you. Same way it went for Earl Spence. Him chasing after these guys at one point who were at the top of the hill. And then at some point, you know, he comes to his mind where he gonna pave his own path. And these guys right now are telling behind him on that path, trying to get where Earl is. And I think the Charlo brothers can do that as well. As long as they can keep on their path that they're going. Even if they fall off, if they hit a little bump, they can get right back on track and continue on mashing. Keep the same mentality that they have, and they can get it going. But that's all I got on that.
How about you, Kurt? What are your thoughts on that? about how, you know, some of the press has covered them in a what I would call it's kind of, in a way, it's almost blatant disrespectful, but they speak on how these guys are, you know, they're not ready for the lights and all that. You know, the stuff that they said. These men been fighting since they were young boys, you know, like other people in the sport that they don't do this to. But it's like, what are your thoughts on that, Kirk?
Well, it's not surprising. I've been seeing this since I was a little boy. My father told me it was going to happen. You know, certain fighters, when they are brash and confident and cocky, you saw with Muhammad Ali, you know, you saw with Mike Tyson. There's just, you know, opposition people. There's a fan base that's against these fighters to want them to lose. Or even when they win and they don't look good, you would think they lost if you was from outer space. And the Charlos became a villain when he knocked out J-Rock and wouldn't shake his hand. And everybody started booing. But they don't care. That's what I like about them. They wear their cockiness on their sleeve, and they stand on their square. They fight. They live how they fight. They're tough. They're tough in the ring, and they're tough out the ring. And I like that, and I respect that about them. Whether they go undefeated, it doesn't really matter. They're both champions. They're world-class fighters, you know, and they're amongst the best. They haven't cracked the top 10 yet, but if they beat Rosario or Deverenchenko impressively, you have to put them up there some way, somehow, 8, 9, 9, 10, you know, whoever, whatever. But I'm excited because usually they'd be like, oh, they call them the Charlotte sisters, and they haven't fought anybody. They try to hold their feet to the fire, where other fighters, they get a pass for everything they do. So they're like waiting for Charlos to lose. Jamel and Jamal. If both of them lose, then there's probably be like a small celebration in their living room. I don't see that happening, but, you know, you just never know. But they're like really good fighters, man. And I like that brash, cocky, confident attitude that they have and they wear on their sleeve.
Yeah. It's unfortunate too, because these guys are how much more family men can you see? They're twins. They vibe off of one another. They definitely have different personalities and different tastes and things like that. They're very competitive with each other. They give each other tough love. They're family men in the sense that they have their own families, and it's just nice to see that for what they've done and accomplished so far in the sport. Like I said, you don't see them in the police blotter. You don't see them, you know, in scandals in the paper and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, man, at the end of the day, again, know what to celebrate, know what to support, know what to project, you know, especially when you want to get on a huge platform. You always want to project your best on a huge platform. For so many years, they've controlled the narrative and have projected the negative on the huge platforms to give the impression that that's all that we're about. You understand? But that's not true. You got people out here that take it to the max, that roll their sleeves up to go to work and everything. And you're going to see evidence of that tomorrow night. Even through the undercards, you're going to see that. And I like the fact that we now can speak and have a voice and talk about the fights. We'll talk about the undercard fights and the post-fight show tomorrow. We will do the sport justice, whereas these other people that have for so long controlled the narrative and gave you a minuscule view of a sport that has a major impact. So that's one of the things I wanted to say about all of this, you know, and I look forward to us being able to do that and just represent, you know, as we say. I can't wait. And I hope that they show up and show out. You understand? And I do believe, with the ear to what we have to say and everything, that can also help keep the focus on point. Excuse me, because when they see and hear us, they say, no, I can't let nobody down like that, you know, and hopefully it's inspiring for them. Because remember, I've often talked about this. Fighters at the top of the sport, they have to find reasons why they want to be there and how they want to maintain it. And you can't maintain it by being afraid to lose what you have, but you have to appreciate what you have and what it took to obtain it, and then begin to set goals on how to do that and to continue to be prosperous and to persevere. You have to set goals that are just out of reach. You understand? And it can't be material. You know, it can't be that of monetary value. It has to be something that the value is in what you see in place in it that's beyond all of that. Because you can only have so many dollars. You can only possess so many material things. But at the end of the day, you have to shoot for something far more than that. And that's when you can be on that path toward greatness, because what makes you get up off the canvas, what makes you get up off that stool for the next round, what makes you walk through that next punch that landed on your chin is that you seek that's beyond that person that stands across that ring in front of you. So, yeah, that's what I had to offer on that. I want to say salute to 78 Sports TVs out there. He says, salute, bro. Salute to you, 78. Good to see you joining the Friday night chop session, bro. Glad to have you out there. So, Reggie, what do you think about what I just had to offer with fighters at this point? And they have to apply to the two brothers here in the sense of being able to find more to fight for than just an economic means, and more than what they say, respect. Okay? Because once you respect yourself and what you're doing in your family, there's going to be people out there, you can't force them to respect you, but they'll have to respect you because of what you accomplishment. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I think these dudes are striving to be written into these record books. I really think that's what it is. I think that's where the passion is. And I don't think it along with it, as long as you're doing great work, the money's going to always come. The money's going to always be there. And they're not one of these penny pinching type fighters, or one of these fighters that work the ideal of business as a way to interfere in getting out of fight state on one. I think these kids' whole reason behind being in this game is to achieve legacy and also to achieve it together. They push each other for greatness, and this is why they become effective. When one lose, it hurt, like we seen in that last situation. It hurt the one brother. He was down, man. It's the kind of effect that twins have. I got twins, and you see that that bond and connection between twins. So I think them being in this sport, the first to do it at this level, and they can go. They're gonna carry each other up. They'll feed off each other, and I think they're bound for greatness as long as they can continue on. Stay out of trouble like they have been, and I don't know. I think everything, man, is for them to be able to be mentioned amongst those greats who are out there in the game. I don't know, man. I'm just looking to see where their careers go. I'm definitely looking to see where their careers go, and that's all I got, man. I got a lot of thoughts. I'm stuck on thinking about this one, but I definitely think legacy is the pathway for these guys. You see the way they go into fights. They're always at hard work, always in shape. And as long as they keep that fire, man, that passion that they have to go in there and rip someone's heads off, they're bound to go somewhere, bound to go real far. I just want Jamel to start getting back to boxing, though. That's the only thing when I think of that. I can see Jamel going very, very far, but I want to see Jamel. I see Jamal going very, very far. I want Jamel to go very far as well, but going back to what got him started, going back to that boxing, and always having that ability to finish someone in his back pocket. But that's all I got.
Yeah. Kurt, do you have anything to offer, being a historian yourself, with the fact that when fighters find something else to fight for, you know, that is beyond that reach, but is something that you can always continue to strive towards. What do you have to offer on that, and how it could apply for these brothers as they try to embark on their endeavors, starting with their first pay-per-view tomorrow night?
Absolutely. Legacy, of course, money, because the business has to be right. If you watch their documentaries, they live very well. They eat best foods and they drive fancy cars. They have really nice homes. They're enjoying the fruit of their labor. But when it's time for business and train, you know, they're always in shape. They're always in shape. When you can throw, what people don't realize in the first Tony Harrison fight that I was impressed was he was throwing bombs from the first round to the 12th round. To do that, you have to be in shape. And the second fight was a war of attrition. Plus, you have to be a thinking man's fighter. And that's what Jermell is. They both. They're boxer, punchers, puncher, boxers. Jermell was a boxer early in his career, but when he had that rivalry with Charles Hatley, he knocked him out. Then he knocked out a couple other people, Lubin. That made him say, wait a minute, I can get people out of there. But he's not reckless because he boxes when he have to. But I think it's a good thing where he's confident of his power. And when you have a fighter like Rosario, it's plain to see that all you have to do is box this guy. And as they say, let the knockout come by itself. And he has a good IQ, and so does his brother. They know how good they are. Like I said before, the confidence, but they're fighting for legacy. They're fighting for respect, you know, a way of living, money, as you could say. And they want their names to be mentioned when you talk about Texas, the state of Texas, which is a hotbed for boxing. It's been like that for years. They want to be mentioned with the Curtis Copes and the Donald Currys and Jack Johnsons and so on and so on. You know, so they fighting for a lot of things and self-satisfaction, because fighters, they have very big egos, and their egos has to be stroked. When they look in the mirror, you know, someone walk around with their belts, you can see the proudness on their face. They're very proud. And that's the Charlos. The Charlos are like that. They're very proud, you know, individuals, and they want to put some hurt on you. They have a mean streak that's very important, but they can box. They're athletic. You know, and boxing is weird because you can have all those traits and still lose. It's about concentration. I just think that J-Rock made Rosario look good because the mental lapses, and he was fighting at the wrong range. You could beat Rosario by getting on the inside, and he's open for a left hook. He's wide open for a left hook because that's the only way he could fight. He relies on his power, and he's very cruel. But getting back to your answer, I mean, your question, the Charlos are fighting for a multitude of things. Like I said, confidence and legacy and self-satisfaction, everything, money, everything. The more you win, you stay paid. When you start losing, that's when them checks start going down, those numbers. So it's many things, but they're always in shape and can't wait till tomorrow.
Oh, and let me add this one word in there. They don't look to make friends with nobody in the sport of boxing. And that's the other thing that motivates these cats.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's a business for them. And they're going about it in a workman-like fashion, you know, a laborer-like fashion. And as long as they can keep that aspect for themselves, it may not work for everybody, but it's obviously working for them. And you have to look and respect that because of the results that they're getting out of it. You know, that's how you can maintain your focus. You know, some people lose sight of where they are when they are in a comfortable place, you know, and comfortable place can be anything from what you've acquired through, you know, an economic means to the people around you who give you accolade and love and affection because of your accomplishments or whatever, or even those who want to get next to you because of what you have achieved or whatever. And sometimes when you mark your territory, so to speak, you can keep the wolves at the door. Hey, and if that works for you, that works for you. That's what you need to do to survive. Each and every one of us have a different walk in life and how we go about it. And these men seem to be very successful in staying on code with what their thoughts and beliefs are. Another thing I wanted to throw out there to you two brothers on the panel with me and to the chat that's listening is the adversity that they faced when Mel dropped that decision last year against Harrison, and how it affected them when they were on another double bill card. And even though Mel thought he won the fight, he didn't get the decision. And so there was some backlash at the post-fight and the press conference and everything about how he handled it and things like that. But how Maul was affected in his fight, that came in the second part of that card that night. And even though he had a victory over Korobov, a lot of people felt like he might have been a little distracted and everything because of his brother's loss and whatnot. But the way they've come back from that and overcome that, especially Mel in particular, since he's the one that has the loss and blemish on his record, and he now speaks about that's what separates him and his brother. He's like, I got a loss. He don't. He's like, I embrace my loss, whatever. But it's not that. It's like they both learned something from the situation. And so that's why I think tomorrow night's show is even more integral, because these men understand that they're not going to be handed anything. They know this now. And it's not like now at this moment, but from a year ago, the experience that they suffered, even though one brother had the loss, it was like they both lost because people were complaining about how they dealt with it and everything. So their knives are now even more sharp to go into the battle that they face. And I do believe that that's an underlying aspect that a number of people are not really paying attention to. What are your thoughts on that, Reggie?
Wait, say the question one more time.
The fact that, with Mel's loss from last year in that decision loss, how they have now kind of re-upped and refocused in a sense that people are not really considering, because they both suffered that at hand. Even though it was on Mel's record, Maul suffered too because his brother was hurt. You understand? So it's like that may have made them refocus and rededicate themselves in a way that we haven't had yet to see, but it could play into tomorrow night's fights with people not even looking at that very much. In other words, they'll go in there to send a message to the world. You understand?
Oh, yeah. I don't think they want to feel that feeling anymore, man. It's a hard feeling, especially for competitive athletes, and especially athletes who know how good they are. They don't want to experience the emotions of a loss and what it makes you feel like, having to cope with the days that follow it. Neither one of it was a hard pill to swallow. It affected them. It affected Mel. I think in the interview, I don't know if I was watching the Showtime interview. I watched so many interviews with them this week, and Jamal spoke on how it was his hardest moment to see that happen to his brother, and it affected him during that fight. So it has it has an adverse effect on both fighters, for the one who experienced the loss and the one going right into his next fight. I mean, they don't want to go through that again. And the crazy thing with these fights that they take tomorrow, it's a great possibility they can experience that one more time. But just because you lose don't mean you count it out, man. It can also be a teaching moment in a moment that elevates you as well. But I definitely think it's something that fires them through, they will give everything inside of a fight. And that's the thing an opponent has to deal with the Charlos, is the fact that I don't think they will just time left on the clock. When there's time on that clock, and especially with what they went through, they're going to give it their all. And that's why an opponent has to be on their A game, because these brothers are on a mission and they're coming with nothing but major firepower. Like I said, it's going to be hard to stop these dudes, and especially after that moment from the Harrison fight, it's going to be hard to slow this momentum down. But they have to also be on their game too, man. But damn, I'm just excited for this fight. Looking at it, I'm all over the damn place. But I think with what they experienced, they put themselves in a real serious situation to go through it again. But that's what makes me respect the hell out of them for doing that. But I don't know. That's my thoughts on that one.
How about you, Kurt? What are your talking points on what I just had to offer with that?
Well, the stage is set. I think tomorrow night it will be a turning point in their career, for better or for worse. If they lose, then people are going to say they weren't as good as we thought. They have a lot to lose, man. Legacy on the line. If they win in an impressive manner, then they're going to be off and running. They're going to be real hard to stop because their confidence is going to go through the roof. So it's very important. I think tomorrow's fight is really important in their careers. I really think so. The loss to Charlo did him really well in terms of knowing that, like Reggie said, nobody's going to hand them anything. So they have to go out there and take what's theirs. That's their attitude, and it should be like that. They have a chip on their shoulder, and that's the way it should be. They wear their emotions on their sleeve, like I said many, many times. And they think the whole world is against them. They feel that Charlo feel that he was wronged in losing to Harrison. I had Charlo winning that fight as well. And you see how it affected Jamal. He was there physically, but he wasn't there mentally against Karabov. But they know they can't be in that situation. So I just think it makes Charlo fight even harder, and Jamal too. So, it's this fight is very, very important. And I'm just sitting back and waiting. You just don't know what's going to happen. What if Rosario hit Charlo on the chin and his knees start buckling, or Derevchenko is giving Jamal a hard time, because he got that Eastern European style. He likes to out hustle you. He throws a lot of punches. So the Charlo's going to have to be in their game, man. If they on the game, then they're going to win impressively.
Well, see, this is where I think the separation between the two brothers will be blatantly obvious. The fact that Mel has left Ronnie Shields, and the fact that Maul is still with Ronnie Shields, is going to pay big dividends when it comes down to big fights. That doesn't mean that I have any disrespect for Derek James, but I do believe that Ronnie Shields has a greater deal of experience with big fights, big circumstances, how to overcome and things like that with fighters that he's worked with going back throughout his life as a trainer and from the people that were mentors for him. I have spoken about what I'm seeing with Jamal's growth with him. IGM Tim, salute to IGM Tim, is out there in the chat. In the chat, offering up sentiments that are similar to my own, of which that I can see Maul's growth working with Ronnie. It's like it is there. You can see. This is why I said, and I know even Kurt had offered up that he didn't see Maul's career coming like I see it, but I believe that Maul is like a lot like Evander Holyfield. And the better fighter you put him in there with, he's going to look better. It is just, he's that guy. He has everything, but it's going to take the person across the ring for him to face so you could see it. Like, we knew Evander Holyfield was a good fighter, but we didn't know he was going to be the great fighter he turned out to be. It was the various challenges and obstacles that were placed in his way in his career and how he dealt with them, even from being disqualified in the Olympics, which showed tremendous character there and how he handled that situation. Again, Maul is in that position where he's going to have these challenges and things placed before him, and I do believe he is of character and ability to be able to persevere. It's just that he needs the trials. It's like in the Jedi Order, right? It's like you got to go through the trials, Luke, to see if you can be a master Jedi. Well, he's got to go through his trials. The difficulty has been not having the opponents who are there in the sport that could show and bring this through. But now you have one. He's there, and I believe he's ready for his test. At the end of the day, I think, and this just, I could be wrong. Listen, a person can be wrong, but I think at the end of the day, and at the end of this, he will beat the crap out of Sergey Deverenchenko. He's going to beat the crap out of that guy. And not so much because, oh, he's physically dominant, this or that or whatever. It's because this is the calling. This is his opportunity. And I don't think this man is going to pass it by. He's been waiting on this. You know what I mean? All he needed was somebody to get on that line to face him, you know? And he did the same thing with Bundrich. It's like every time he's been asked, he's answered the call. Now with Mel, it's a different situation because Mel made a change. He broke away. And sometimes you may need to do that in life just to write your own story, right, in your own path. But will Derek James be able to remind him of all those things he does well that could help him through this fight? Because I think all he needs to do is get Banana into the later rounds, and that's going to be it. And he could take him out because Banana is strong early and maybe even in the middle, but he can't box. And Mel could box. That's what he was known for. But will he go back to that? Will he remember that? Ronnie would remind him of that, but would Derek be trying to make him be something that he's not totally? You know what I mean? It's not that he's an assassin. He's a very good boxer, puncher, and he has to set that up. And hopefully he can do those things. But that doesn't mean that I feel that he can't. It's just that had he stayed on path with who he was with, he still would have arrived at where he wanted to be and probably would have been undefeated doing so. So that's what I had to offer on that. Now, either one of you brothers can come in and make a comment based on what I had to say or say whatever else you wanted to say on these things.
Oh, well, I'll go. Well, Tramel, I like his style, that he has good tools. And like you just said, he could box like the Dickens. He could punch. But he, in high profile fights, you have to use your IQ. Just because you have those attributes, those physical attributes, you're still going to have to use your IQ. Like early on, I would box if I was Mel. I will box, let Rosario blow off steam. He's going to be hyped. He's going to try to draw Mel into a firefight. That's his only chance because he can't box. He has a good uppercut, the one he hit J-Rock with that almost took J-Rock head off. He's a good puncher. He reminds me of Murky Sosa. I said that before plenty of times. Is Mel boxes early? Use the jab because the jab will work wonders against Rosario because he's aggressive. But when you're an aggressive fighter, you let him run into the jab, you will use his aggression against him. And then slowly started opening up, throwing power punches, set up with the jab, jab, right hand, left hook, because he's open for that punch. When you look at the Nathaniel Gallimore fight, he was getting hit with the hook all day. So my prediction is Mel and 10, but he has to be careful early, and box for the first 3 or 4 rounds, use the jab, and then start to open it up. You come with your power punches. He could fight Rosario in the inside. You can't be at mid-range like J-Rock. But J-Rock and Charlo so different, because I always thought J-Rock was chinny and had mental lapses. And Charlo is the opposite. Charlo has a very good chin, and he's a hard guy. So he's a hard guy in the ring as well as outside the ring. So I look for Mel to stop him probably like 9 or 10, either or. So I got Charlo for the win by TKO.
Reggie, what you got, bro?
Man, it's going to be a tough one, but I like Kurt's assessment on it as well. And I think the thing with Charlo is he has to use his brain in this fight. I don't think going in early, trying to get this guy up out of here is going to be the smartest plan. He's going to have to be effective, study this guy while he's in there, along with putting his work in, and also keeping himself locked in, because he don't want to be, like I heard the term used during the Lubin fight, don't let this guy lure you to sleep. And especially easily being able to be taken away from the fight, being there's no crowd to kind of keep you engaged, locked in on the fight. So that adds to a different aspect. But just being patient, not being too patient, but working off his boxing, being smart with his boxing, fighting through each of these rounds. Because the one thing I do see good with Rosario is, and on top of his height and range, is Rosario has great timing to try to counter folks, and that's
we our favorite fighters. We like to see them challenged and tested. When it actually happens, or if something's on the horizon and we say, I don't know, man, this might be a tough one or whatever, we always come out looking at it like, oh, yeah, this is great. They were able to overcome. But the thing about it is, we look at it with a sense of we have trepidation, but it's like when they overcome and persevere, then we're like, oh, that's good. I told you he could do it or whatever. But it's life. If they had it easy all the time, we wouldn't have the same reverence or even respect for it. So to have guys be challenged and to have it, if somebody gets knocked down, as long as they get up and they fight on, it's fine. If they get knocked down and they just sit there and put their head down like, I was a front runner, then you could be like pissed off about that. But you always want your guys to be tested so you could learn exactly how good and how great they are. That's at the end of the day, for me, that's a real sticking point. I would like to see the men be challenged so we can go beyond that and get to that next level, because it's like levels, and Kurt makes this observation all the time. When Sugar Ray Leonard lost to Duran, he learned from that defeat. He learned a lot about himself, and he learned a lot about what he was capable of doing going forward. So therefore he would fight a different way after that. He knew he could brawl. He knew he could slug. He knew he could move. He knew he could outthink the guy, outquick the guy, things like that. So it makes a difference when you're able to put those things together in that aspect. And am I right in your interpretation of that, Kurt, when you talk about Leonard not being able to get to another level until he had the situation with Duran?
Yeah, that's true. I always said if Leonard didn't have that loss to Duran, he would have never defeated Tommy Hearns. And I don't believe in moral victories, but it really did help his career. And when I say about respect, Leonard was considered just a pretty boy until he met up with Duran. And, Leonard showed a lot of toughness in that fight, man, and he got the respect of the boxing world, and he was off and running then. And I knew he was going to win the rematch when they fought in November. I just knew it, and I was comfortable because I said, now I know how tough he is. He's really tough, man. Duran hit him with everything, and Leonard was right there. He didn't back down. It was a brawl for 15 rounds. One of the greatest fights you ever see. And, sometimes a fighter can win from a loss. They can learn from a loss. Everybody wants to go undefeated, but, when you fight good fighters, you eventually lose. That's the nature of the sport, and Charlo just got to prepare himself he's big too, Rosario, man. He's got to prepare himself for an aggressive puncher who's coming to win, who's hungry. You offset all of that by fighting smart and by using your skill. And he should win. But there's always that upset in boxing. I remember when Lloyd Huntington beat Donald Curry. Donald Curry was considered the best fighter in boxing, and he quit on his stool. Or Tyson and Douglas, that was on another level. There's always going to be upsets, and you just don't know when and where. That's the thing of boxing. Expect the unexpected. Charlo going to be winning and get clipped by something, get hurt, and get stopped. I've seen it all in boxing. I'm quite sure you guys have seen it all in boxing. But that's boxing. That's the nature of the sport. Anybody can win on any night. Stormybman, thank you for being on the show, man. I got to run. I got to take care of something real quick, man. And, I want the chat, Reggie Owens. I want y'all to enjoy the fight. And, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right, man. Yes, peace. And thanks for stopping through, Kurt. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Peace.
So, Reggie, my question to you would be going forward in the rest of our discussion on this fight for tomorrow night. And like I said, this was the Lions show, so we know that there are some other fights on the undercard, and we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about the Lions tonight, and that's Jermell and Jamal. What are outside of maybe what I have offered up so far? What are the if you could come away with some positive aspects with Mel being with Derek James, how confident are you in what he may be able to do in tomorrow's fight? And do you think that it will come down to James and the decisions that they make as a team in the corner about how they see the action?
Oh, yeah, it's going to definitely come down to the coach and to the fighter. The fighter has to listen to every word that the coach is putting out there. I'm pretty sure Derek James will give out great guidance, but it's also getting into to Jermell Charlo, because he's a little hard-headed at times. He gets, like I said, his thing is getting pulled into a fight. He's a scrapper. He likes to scrap. So that's one thing with James having to pull this guy up out of there, re-snapping his brain into what he needs to do to where he can separate himself against Rosario. I think it'd be a bad mistake to go in there and want to bang with Rosario. His thing is to separate himself from Rosario in this match in order to gain victory. He wants to make sure everything on his side looks clean. That way he's not being affected by these judges, being clouded by what's going on, and also not putting himself in danger, because he is going against a dangerous opponent with heavy punching power who can possibly do something that we haven't seen happen to Jermell. So Derek James is going to be super essential at going into this fight. He's very, very essential in this fight. And I think their relationship, their chemistry, it works for them. They found success since leaving Shields. I think he can rein the guy in, but he's also going to have to transition Jermell for this fight into a boxer rather than a guy coming in there looking to get these knockouts. So I think they can find success, but it's all dependent on Derek James, no doubt about it.
Sometimes a fighter, when pressed in a situation where it will call for him to be under a threat or something. I have seen situations where fighters get totally dialed in and focused and gone out there and either blown guys out, overcome by means of almost like a sweatless victory, or just turn back the challenge in such a manner that separates them from the other party. I've seen that so many times that it's always in the back of my mind with this fight, because yes, Banana is a strong guy and everything, but let's get on a realistic level here. Would Banana, prior to fighting J-Rock, would he been considered as a guy who was gonna upset Jarrett Hurd, Jamal Charlo, Tony Harrison, or J-Rock before he fought J-Rock? Was he being considered as a guy who was going to be the next man up, the next champion? I don't think he was. He was just, thought of as a strong young fighter out there, contender or whatever, but I don't think anybody foresaw him dethroning any other gentleman. That's what I'm basically saying here. And that's not to diminish his accomplishment, but I believe that his situation with J-Rock was more on J-Rock not doing and fighting how he was supposed to than Banana being a guy who just took it away from him. It would be like, okay, there were guys who fought Mike Tyson and they were afraid of him. And when the bell rang, they backed up and he came forward and they covered up and he dominated and he put him out. And it's like, oh, we knew it was going to happen like that. But the few times when somebody stood there and stood their ground and fought him off or whatever, it's like, okay, it was a different type of result. It's like, sometimes you have to face adversity, and sometimes you have to understand that something has a danger factor and it raises your senses, and you go into it and you be like, I got to be cautious of this guy. I got to be careful of what he's doing. I got to make sure that I keep my eye out for him. I got to stay at a certain distance. I didn't see all of that from J-Rock when he fought. I actually said during the fight, I said that he's fighting a dumb fight because he got cut and he was constantly pawing at his cut. It's like he was letting the guy know, I'm wounded. He didn't act like it didn't bother him or anything. Then he went in like, he got mad like, well, I got cut, so I'm going to try to knock him out. Well, why are you going to go in there and try to knock out a dude that ain't been knocked out like that when by somebody like you who can't punch like that, and you not look to box him and extend it or whatever? It's like, it just seemed like he, like a person who don't know how to play poker. He showed his hand and Banana was able to take it away from him. So I don't think that that's Jamel Charlo at all. I don't think that's Jamel. Jamel is a calculating assassin, man. He want to put them hands on you and everything, but he's not reckless. He doesn't go in with reckless abandon and just throwing caution into the wind. He's very calculating in what he does, and he shoots his shots. He puts his combinations together very well. He follows up. He's always in a position to hit back, and he's coming off of 2 fights where he was probably fighting the best boxer in the division. And he beat him. Both times, I think. But in the second fight, he knocked him out. So that alone showed improvement. So I have to tip my hat to that. He got proof in the pudding. So, yeah, these are tough fights for these guys, but they're the champs, and they should come out as champs. Period. I would be a little disappointed if it didn't happen that way, because I don't see it like everyone else sees it for the reasons that they see it. I see what I see for a different reason. I'm trying to see them as men who have learned and are on a growth pattern. We've seen other fighters become champions and not grow. They just go steadily along. I've said this about Anthony Joshua. I actually released a video about him earlier today that he, since he won the championship, lost it and got it back, he has not shown improvement to me. And if anybody thinks that his fight with Andy Ruiz Jr., the rematch, was an improvement, the only thing he improved against was not getting knocked down or knocked out. But his boxing ability, I did not see that. He fought a man who was fat and slow and couldn't get after him, and he played keep away. Catch me if you can, I'm the gingerbread man. That was what he was doing in that fight. And I don't think that a fighter who's gunning to try to get him gonna let him get away with that. They're gonna cut that ring off, put the pressure on him, go in there and put their fist on his chin and put him on the canvas. And there are some fighters out there who are capable, very capable of doing that, but those are not the guys he's fighting. And if you think that Kubrat Pulev is going to be a guy that goes in like that, he didn't want to fight Joshua a few years ago when they offered him a fight. Why did he turn it down then when he was even more green? I don't know, man. It's just, but for these guys tonight, talking about the Lions, I think they're ready, and I think they're ready to take that next step. They've had a bite and a taste of blood, and I think they're going to go for the kill. That's what my thoughts are on this, you know. My thoughts. I see I Am Ill Will out there. He says, salute Stormy B, man. IGM Tim says, Banana don't keep his hands up. If he doesn't against Mel, it will cost him. IGM told you. Yep. Eric R says, I see Rosario coming into this fight like J-Rock after Hurd. I think Jamel needs to jump on him early before Banana gets his nerves settled. IGM Tim says 84 Earl came up before Earl came up. Mel was a boxer strictly. Yeah, you know, I want to go back to an earlier comment by IGM Tim as well. He says also Stormy in chat. Who don't know? Jamal had a chance to sit back and peep the game a couple of years because Jamel went pro first. You know, he was with Top Rank. Yeah. I don't know. We just, you know, we could talk about it, but the fight has to happen. We have to see it, and then we'll be back to talk about it. But I see a good night ahead for the brothers. I really do. And I've been wrong in the past, but I'm not looking at it as a wrong thing. I'm looking at it as a look up and a look ahead. Yep. Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, no, I want to say I'm looking ahead too. But back to that comment you were saying, would Banana have been Banana if it wasn't for the Rosario fight? But the thing is, I think he could have, and I think there's many other out there. Is the fact we don't know too much about these international fighters. And a lot of them, especially if they're coming from great schools, and that's the thing we miss without the sport being properly, laid out to us. It's not properly laid out. It's an international sport. We don't get the full access of all the premier talent that is out there. And with this kid and how we were speaking about Derek James being essential to victory in this fight, all the trainers are going to be essential to victory in this fight because these are such close and complex fights. Banana is coming from a great team, a real disciplined type team. And both of these guys are going to be so war ready going into this fight. But I think Banana would have been who he is, being what we've seen in that J-Rock fight. It's just the fact we don't know too much about these guys. The most we know is of seeing him in his losing victory against Gallimore, but also in the fight where he still was fighting the fight coming forward. I mean, he's a tough guy, but he is cleaned up from that version of who he was then to who he is now going forward from there. He's a much different fighter, more disciplined fighter now, locked in with a team. But we're going to see that from a lot of other people out there. We just don't get the full spectrum of who's all this talent that that resides in these other countries that just come over here and pop up out of nowhere on the scene. Like, and that's why it's so essential for these American fighters to stay on top of their shit. They have to stay on task. They have to stay locked in. Take that little piece of what Floyd Mayweather was, is treating this game like you poor and staying locked in on the craft, because there's so much other dangerous talent that is out there. There's a lot of that South American talent. There's a hotbed for fighting talent. We've seen what the Europeans have done, mainly out of the iron bloc countries, or the Russias and all that stuff. What's coming up out of these programs. And also, you got some shit coming up out of Japan as they begin to lock in and focus on this damn sport of boxing. And they come from places with deep tradition that is disciplined and locked in on the craft. And we're going to see a lot of these bananas who we don't know nothing about, and they come in here and they shock and upset the hell out of some people. We seen what the Asian cat did against Teofimo Lopez, almost shifted his whole momentum and shit. And there's a guy we don't know nothing about. So I think it's a lot of that sleeper talent that is out here.
Yeah, but my argument against what you're saying there, Reggie, is at the end of the day, you're talking about boxing. And if a guy has sound fundamentals in boxing, in the sport, as a pro from America, a lot of guys from across the pond, regardless of what region or area they're from, are going to have some problems. Because we got the best coaches. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it hands down. And the tradition has always aligned with us with that, which is why I speak so much about it, about the teaching out there has been poor. But Nana can't box. He can fight, but he can't box. But the principle has always been, you box a fighter and you fight a boxer, okay? But the thing about it is, whose acumen will be superseding. And in this instance, I think that's where Mel has the advantage because of, one, his upbringing through having that experience of being with Ronnie Shields. Two, he suffered a loss already, and he's overcome that loss. And he didn't think he lost it to begin with, but the fact that he had to accept that and been like, it's on my record now, which he has done, but he came back and became a champion again. Do you actually think that he is willing and ready? Not willing, but he's thinking of giving that up so soon and so suddenly. And when he saw the work that it took to get it back. Remember, the fight was supposed to take place sooner than it did, the rematch with Harrison, and it got delayed because of the so-called foot injury or whatever, and it just pissed him off even more. It's like, man, this guy's just messing around. I want my title back. I want to go after him, this, that, and the third. And so there you have it, where he has the understanding of what it's like to lose all of this. Rosario just received it. Mel wants to be undisputed. Well, Rosario just became champion. It so happens that he won 2 belts, but he ain't even had a chance to defend the belts yet, make a little money doing that, having title defenses. He's going right directly into a unification. The buck could stop right here. And there's a lot of pressure in that. If Mel was a foolish guy and kind of like I hate to use a certain guy's name, but let's just use the name of someone like a Adrian Broner or something, right? And mentally, like, he could fly way off the path or whatever, then you can kind of say, well, he's talented, but this and that. But this is not the case with Mel. Mel knows what it's like to lose. He knows what it's like to regain. He knows what it's like to retain, because he had title defenses before they took that decision from him with Harrison in their first fight. So there's a lot that stacks up in his favor that it diminishes everything that people want to push up about Rosario. Rosario was a work in progress that was on there. Mel was a finished product at the end of the day. And he should fight as that on tomorrow night. All he has to do is do it. Just not be foolish. And we don't know until the fight happens if he's going to respond in the affirmative. And I have confidence that he will. You got something?
No, I thought my signal was, I know if the signal had dropped. No, man, I'm not underestimating that dude Rosario. I really got a feeling that an upset is highly probable in this fight. I feel more comfortable with Jamel's fight, even though that's going to be a tough ass fight too. I'm just worried about, because this fight can go either way. Either guy in this Rosario fight can get knocked out. And that's the danger of it. And I don't care if this is Rosario's first test at defending the title. The kid is here, his skills match up, and he poses that much of a threat. But that's what I want in boxing. I want that out of a top premier fighter, is to go into a tough battle. So that way there's no way anyone can deny him. He comes out and he crushes. Even if he came out here and crushes Rosario, he gets a ton of goddamn respect. And he puts a huge level of fear within that division if he can go in there and crush a Rosario, because Rosario is a threat to any other fighter within that 154 division. So if Charlo can go in there and destroy him, that just elevates the hell up out of him. But this is going to be a dangerous fight, because this kid, I believe, can hurt Charlo. We got to see if he has a possibility of who knows? A cut can open up. I mean, this is going to be a crazy fight. He's big and he's strong as well as Charlo. So this is a fight I'm worried about. I'm pulling for Charlo, but I think this fight can go bad for him. That's why he has to really, really listen in on Derrick James, and hopefully Derrick James is vocal in this fight. I see him being he's too nice at times. Sometimes I think Charlo needs some of that Ronnie Shields cuss out at times in fights, and he may end up doing that if this fight gets a little bit tough. If this fight gets a little bit closer, when he's going to really have to snap in on Charlo.
Yeah. And, hey, at the end of the day, all he got to do, get in his chest, man. Because the guy can't fight on the inside, just like Eric R. says. He says, true, the U.S. is like the Olympics, because all over the states you have different gyms and styles, where most European style have basic up guard and they rarely develop inside fighting. Yeah, and that's where it is. But you see, you don't rush inside, you work your way inside. And when you're inside, that's where you do your work. You go to school. You take him to school and you do your damage in there. But you have to work toward that. You don't rush in there, but you work toward it and you start chipping at it. Because I'll tell you something. Guys who can't fight in close are always at a disadvantage once they've allowed the guy who can fight in close to get on the inside. And like I said, this young man can't box. He can fight, but he can't box. You hit somebody hard, you got a heavy punch or whatever, okay, cool. What happens when they could take your shot? You see? And then
he got a nice jab. His jab is nice.
His jab is nice, but do you think he is a better boxer in using his jab than Mel? I don't think so.
I think he can maintain outside range with a jab, and that's what Mel's going to have to do. I don't look at Mel as being that great of a jabber. I don't really see too much boxing skill from Mel at all. I haven't seen it for a long time.
Well, that's what he was known for. If he has to go back to what he did best before he discovered he had a power punch, what's so hard about it? It's up to his trainer to remind him to do those things. But that's what I was saying, the difference between he and Ronnie Shields. Ronnie could remind the guy, and you know what, you dance with what brought you. You know what I mean? So this is one of those cases where has Derrick James focused on his power too much? And you know, I don't know these things because I don't know their relationship. But I speak stronger for his brother because his brother has shown me through the experience of being with Ronnie Shields what he has developed from that. I just don't know because with Mel, because he's had some success doing things a couple of different ways. And who do you hang that on as far as, is it him himself just being a prodigy that he could come out and be very good? Or is it because James added new wrinkles? Or is it the foundation that Shields laid? You know what I'm saying? So it's like the book is still open. The book is still open. And tomorrow night we'll get a chance to see a new wrinkle or a new page turned in the book. But at the end of the day, guys got to fight. You know, every fight is dangerous when somebody is punching you upside your head. And hey, man, I think that both brothers will prevail. But it shouldn't be easy, because it should always remind everybody else that they got to roll their sleeves up to go to work. Huh? Them people who just sit at home and go to the mailbox waiting for something to arrive, they have no idea what it's like for you and I, who got to get those hours of sleep in and wake up early and put your kids away for school and this and that, and you got to do all this, and then you got to go in for your grind and all of that. They don't know. They just sitting around playing video games, smoking dope, and waiting for the mailman. Come on, man. Nah. So that's the way it is as far as I'm concerned. I want to go to the chat real quick. Skinny Kenny. Let me go. IGM Tim says, also, the fact that he's always been the little Charlo is going to come into effect against the bigger guy, possibly. Skinny Kenny says, Rosario is a PBC in-house fighter. Mel and J-Rock and Derek James know him and have been seeing him. Eric R. says, true. And I read that one already. Skinny Kenny says, I think Mel is just farther along in the development and more athletic. Rosario is dangerous, but Mel should handle him if he fights smart. Rosario is less skilled, a less skilled, stronger version of John Jackson. Well, you saw what happened to John Jackson. You know, IGM Tim says, hey, y'all, it might sound crazy, but I think Maul got the easier win, because if Sergey tried to pressure Maul, it's going to get ugly. He said Mel may be trying to show Earl he can knock out folks too. Yeah, hopefully that's not the case. He's worried about showing Earl something. But yeah, man, it is what it is, though. Reggie, are you calling this fight?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. No, because I early in the show, when you were still getting prepped to come on, I had said to everybody to go check you out. And, you know, I just presume you were. So I put it out there that they should go to your channel to catch your call for it. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't putting my foot in my mouth.
Oh, hell no. I'm spending my money on this one. This is well worth it, man. And I'm on eggshells because I want to see both brothers successful in this event tomorrow. But hell yeah, I'm calling this thing, man.
Yeah, I was a couple minutes late getting tonight's show started because I was ordering the fight, and I had to get my setup and everything for that, and then I had to set a couple of visuals up for tonight's show, so it ran me a couple of minutes late. That's the only reason. But yeah, man, to be able to call that, we'll be right there listening to your call and checking it out, man. I expect a exciting night. But this is what happens with boxing. This is the reason to get excited about the sport when you have competitive matches. I can't get you heard me saying when boxing first returned in those first few top ranked shows, I was like, man, nobody care about that stuff. These are like sparring matches and guys that shouldn't be on TV. You know, it's like, but, you know, now we're getting ready to see world-class championship fighting. And that's what we've been waiting for. Should we have butterflies? Absolutely. Should we be like nervous and jittery? No, this is what you wanted, right? And if a guy gets knocked down and gets up and wins, that's not a bad thing, because it's like perseverance, man. I'm sick of everybody thinking that boxers are supposed to win without getting, swim without getting wet, as D-Styles like to say. You got to get hit sometimes. You're going to get cut. You're going to get your face busted, your nose busted. That don't mean you lost the fight, Unless you got one of them dirty judges judging the fight, then you have to be concerned about that. But from what I'm saying is just, to be able to be on top of things, why be afraid for what you want? You want quality fights? Here we go. This is a kickoff. And hopefully it's very successful, so that will encourage others. Hopefully. So that's the way I see that, man. That's totally the way I see it. So, but yeah, it's been a great conversation, man. It's been a great show. Sorry we had that little glitch there for a couple of minutes, but I don't know what that was. Just like something froze up and then it came back on its own. So just a couple of minutes, but you guys were still talking when it happened like that. But yeah, Reggie, why don't you go ahead and give us some final thoughts and let everybody know where they can come and hear you call the fight for tomorrow night.
Oh, yes, indeed, man. Great show, man. And I can't wait for Saturday to come. It can't come fast enough, man. I'm going to try to sleep very long so that when I wake up, these fights ain't too damn far away. But catch me tomorrow, man, for both of these fights on Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, both my main channel and backup channel, which go by the same name, except the backup has a 2. I run them together when I'm doing a live, but that's where you guys can catch me, man. I'm wishing success to both of the Charlo brothers. Hopefully they pull through, because there's so much on the line for these guys, legacy-wise and financially, especially for Jamel. He's in a very hot division where the big money fights are, unless those other big money players run away. But he can also create this game into where he's the big face. He's where all the money is. Just like the Earl Spence situation played out with cats running from him, he could turn that same saga into where cats are chasing after him to try to get big money fights. But going in a money fight against Jamel Charlo at that division is very dangerous. And the same thing can come true for Jamel Charlo. And especially with their personalities, the way they call up things, but they need fighters who aren't afraid to fight them in order to make that division hot. So I'm looking forward to seeing what both brothers are going to do out there tomorrow. Are you still there, OG?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm just gathering my thoughts. I'm sorry I'm so quiet, but no, you know what? Hey, man, it's going to be a great evening of boxing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch it tomorrow on Showtime pay-per-view in the first part of a doubleheader of fight cards. We got in a main event, we got Jamal Charlo taking on Sergey Deverenchenko for his WBC middleweight championship. And then we have in the second part of the doubleheader, we've got the smaller brother, Jamel Charlo, taking on Jason Rosario in a unification of 154-pound super welterweight championship bouts, where Jamel is bringing his WBC title in against Jason Rosario Banana, his IBF, and what is he got? The IBF and the WBA super welterweight titles, or junior middleweight titles. So that'll be the main event after an intermission. And these are the fights that everybody have been wanting to see, talking about for the past couple of months since they were named that the fights would happen. And we can't wait. I mean, this is like Christmas early for us as boxing fans. We've been waiting for this to take place. We want the best out of the sport of boxing. And if that requires the best fighting, the best, as we always call for, so be it. And this is what it is, man. Again, I apologize for that little glitch we had, but we had a lot of people in here supporting us on this evening. We even had a visit from the General, 78 Sports TV. Appreciate that. And for my co-host here, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, we're really doing our thing here on the Friday Night Chop Session, man. And I love the fact that we're getting the support that we're getting here, and it's really fun bringing these broadcasts through to our listeners, man. And I'm glad to be a part of this with you, brother. I hope you keep on going with me. And salute to Curtis Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, my brother from the Three Wise Men of Boxing, stopping through and lending a little bit of his experience and voice to the show. And I want to say a special shout out to Scrapbook Boxing. Get better, brother, and we're praying for you, and come on back to us so we can continue what we were doing. And for everybody else that's out there listening in the chat, buy that fight, man. Buy that fight tomorrow night, showtime. Okay, so we're gonna get on out of here, and we will catch you guys later tomorrow night on our post-fight show when the cards have finished. So this is Stormybman. I want to say good night. Peace to everybody. Have a great weekend and enjoy those fights. Make sure you purchase that fight. Support the brothers, the Charlo brothers. Peace.